model. And this is a straight pose. This is, you know, the most basic kind of pose you're going to at least want to have in your tool set, because you know, there's no rule that says that you need. I love what do you call it, you know, fashion illustration. I love dramatic poses and gestures. I love dancers. I love all that fun stuff. But if you want to sketch fashion, you do not need to have posed models. And I have found, I've had A students in my classes at Parsons, after many years where I used to sort of insist, hello, on doing dramatic poses. I still teach the method because everyone should have a chance to enjoy that. But if you do a straight pose and, you know, you're designing, I think it's much more important that you can sketch your design than it is that you can, hi Karen, that you can sketch a, I'm looking at my paper a lot, so I may be missing comments or people coming in the room. I appreciate you all stopping by, and I hope you'll catch the replay too. Hello, lovely. How are you doing? I can't believe summer is like winding up. Okay, now see, I'm correcting myself how her legs are closer together, so sometimes I start inventing my own thing. I'm moving now to bring her legs back closer together, and that's going to be my model. Now, what I like to do once I have one model on the page, if I'm sketching design ideas, I'm going to line them up. You have been very, very busy, Karen, and now is your daughter off to college? Oh my gosh, off to school? Okay, so there's my sort of simple sketch of the model. And then I'm going to keep using her. Now, I want to make sure she's realistic. Top of head to crotch to bottom of feet. I'm just going to compare that to the actual model here. Top of head to crotch equals crotch to bottom of feet. Okay, good. Because, you know, at least want these models to look like like the models. She was in all summer and begins again in 2 weeks. Oh, she was in all summer. That's right. That's right. Now, before I start working with, thank you so much for inviting your followers, Karen. Anyone who's watching, Karen's an awesome fashion illustrator and an awesome teacher as well, so you definitely want to follow her scopes. What I'm going to do now is put in a few details for fun. I'm using a pencil. I don't have to use a pencil. Tap my screen. Me? I know. I thought it was blurry too. Hang on. Yeah, I thought it was blurry too. And then I was wondering. Let me check one more thing here. Is it getting any improvement? Shoot. Yeah, this is why I keep doing these digital things. I cannot seem to get one more thing I'm going to rub here. Not get the results I want with lighting. Oops, with clarity. Thank you. Okay, I'm hoping we're getting a little bit of an improvement with the blurriness. Perhaps not. So I'm going to start drawing darker as well. So I'm going to mix up a little. One of the big things I wanted to do was look for whites. It's a bit more clear. Thank you. What I wanted to drive home about tinted paper is that it's so cool. If you want, you can let the paper be the skin tone. So I'm going to play with that concept first and just go in. Now that I have her body, I'm going to start just feeling out the details of this outfit, which is quite white. And I'm going to feel out like her. It's really, really cool details going on. Actually, I'm going to come back with this pencil and just draw in these princess seam that goes through the bust and wraps around. I love fun constructions like this, so I'm really going to do a little study of them here. There's gathers coming out of this all through here. I'm going to draw those in. And then there's gathers coming down here. If you follow me on Instagram, which is Fashion Illustration Tribe, you'll also see that I did a really cool study of, there's a really, really neat dress by Stella McCartney. Not a dress, an ensemble. This has gathers on both sides, what we call like ruching or shirring, where the gathers go across. Then we have gathers falling down here. and falling down. Thanks for popping in, everybody. Hello. I keep not looking at my screen because I'm sketching, but I'm really, really happy you're here. So there's gathers coming down here. This awesome style line. Thank you for the beautiful purple hearts. This awesome style line is holding and controlling fabrics. We have gathers here. We have gathers here, gathers across, and then we also have smooth areas where there are no gathers. And then we have more gathers here. So cool. Now, she is wearing, okay, she has a regular armhole, like a basic armhole, but then like a little bit of gathers at the top of the sleeve. I'm going to put those in with the dark pencil. And then what I want to do, oh, I'm just so excited. Like, I know where I'm going with this, but I hope you'll hang in with me a little bit. There's some wrinkles at the shoulder. Right now I'm just kind of mapping things out. Okay, then there's a lot of gathered fabric here. And then her hand. Okay, so on the other side, same thing. We have smooth. Then we have a lot of gathers here. And then we have the end of one sleeve. And then we have all this kind of gather stuff. I don't want to get super detailed until I've mapped out everything, actually, because otherwise I can't correct myself. I see that her dress comes out, and then it like slowly comes down with an asymmetrical hem. Asymmetry is something that I find all the time in Brazilian fashion, and I love it. I think it's the most flattering thing for the human body. I feel like symmetry asks for perfection, and the asymmetry is very kind aesthetically. So that's something I get excited about. So I love that there's an asymmetrical hem here. Think about it also, a diagonal hem is going to give a lot of movement. Okay, I can't talk to you right now, Angie, because I'm doing a quick scope. I thought you were out playing with your friends, sweetie pie. But I'll play with you in a little bit. Thank you. Okay, now, before I move ahead, I'm going to do something cool. I want to make this leg, see, I told you I would want to change things. I want to bring this hand down farther and get all these wrinkles in here. What you should do when you have things sort of basically sketched out is you're going to want to think a bit about just looking overall, like what's light and what's dark in the image. Like I feel a lot of dark down here, so I'm just going to like tone it down in here, and I can smudge it around with my pencil too. I see dark, I usually always see dark like in where the underarms are, because there's like depth in there. And then there's a lot of darkness under the hem of the skirt because it's inside. So I'm going to draw in these knee socks. And the really fun part is going to be when I start adding paint. And I'll tell you, and Karen knows this too, paint is what makes it so fluid and alive. These are ribbed socks, so I do want to draw in some of the ribbing. And I want to start bringing this to life. So let me just feel out the shape of her hair. Remember to always see hair as a shape, more so than as little hairs. Because what you see is going to be more of a shape, whereas what you know is that it's a lot of hairs. And usually if you draw a whole lot of hairs, you're going to be, it's too much information. It's like drawing all the threads in the fabric. I always say that, but it's true because it's often, it could be so distracting. So that's just a tip. All right, and now I'm going to come back with the white. I'm going to be painting, but the first thing I'm going to do is just watch this. If you have tinted paper, then you can have this like magic shimmer of like when you bring in the white. Now Karen, hello, welcome. Karen works in white so much because she does a lot of bridal. Although Karen, you've been doing more different styles than ever lately, and it's so exciting to see that. So here I'm just doing something that's quick and simple, but I want you to see how when you have, I don't want to color too much because the white pencil is actually blending with the graphite. Thank you. Make sure you follow me. I'm going to be doing more and more of these things, and you can also follow on my blog, fashionillustrationtribe.com. Lots of white. Karen's a master of white. So here's some of what's going on from there to there. I have to say, I don't know, for example, Karen, how you do it. I get quite distracted when I'm looking at the screen and then looking at my painting and then looking at comments and talking. Somehow it feels different than teaching like a live class. I can get, oh, good. I'm so glad. Well, thanks for, I'm glad you're enjoying. Thanks for letting me know. So there's all this draping. The gathers up here are creating the flares down here, which is fun. But even though I did that with the white pencil, the real fun and magic will be when I do with the white paint. This is a sketchbook paper. You know, I always wonder how on earth you do it, because it doesn't move right in front of your face. I appreciate you sharing that, because of course the phone's ringing in the middle of this. My landline rings like once a week, which would happen to be now, wouldn't it? It's really good if you're working with paint or anything to always have it like a test strip nearby. Oh, that's a lot. For once, I'm getting a nice richer color than I expected. Oh, that's nice to meet you. So I usually always do skin first. Whoops. Using the paper as the skin tone. Now this is gouache, so guess what happens when I add this color? Oh, isn't that cool? It did mix very nicely, didn't it? That's true, Karen. I'm going to lose a lot of my lines here, but I'm so glad that happened, because I want to tell you something. Sometimes losing your lines is the best thing you can do, because, hang on, because then you can start to see things as pure shape instead of relying entirely on your lines. And then, hang on, you know, and when you can do that, then you will start to see what you need to fix or what you want to change. Fashion is so much about shape. Oh, it's fine. I think it's wonderful. I've learned several languages. You know, I'm very excited and supportive when people are trying to speak my language, because I know how many people have been patient with me when I was learning a language. What I shouldn't have really done was put so much white in her face. And one of the reasons I had done that is because her face was so white. But now I'm like, oh, but that's okay, because I can mix a skin tone and add that in. It's not a problem. I'm going to bring in my pencil right now, though. I want to make sure that I clarify the neckline. Oh, you know what? I tried to do that while my paint was still wet. Total no-no. I'll come back and do that later. I'm gonna give her some lips. Very excited to see the end of mine. Oh, wow. Well, I'm wondering how long I'll go on today. It seems to be like a million. Getting all these like phone calls, etc., etc. I am trying to juggle a lot of balls. Her ends are incredible. Oh, wow. Oh, you. Thank you. I didn't realize that was you. Thank you, Karen. I really fell in love with these photos because I loved this hair. It's like so 20s or whatever. And this is just a sketch. Like, I wasn't really sure what purpose I was going for, like whether it's for design or whether it's for very vintage, right? Yeah, I love that. I'm also thinking of mixing up some dark blue. Let me do that now so that I can play with this these birds. And then I may come in and do some skin tone kind of thing. So I'm actually going to cheat. The quickest way I can get my blue right now is to come over to my tempera cakes. Even though I have tube gouache, I'm coming for the tempera cake. And I'm just going to start playing around Let's see, it looks like that blue has a lot of black in it, so I'm going to mix it with black and try to get the feel of that color. Karen, thanks so much for stopping by, and I want to hear more about your Warner Brothers. See what happens when you start sketching superheroes? One thing that's happening here that I think is really important to mention is that the print is interrupted by the seam here. Sure, I may be able to give advice. I can mostly just talk about my experience, you know. And if my experience can help you on something. Oh, see, now this is where, see, we usually give up on ourselves too early on in our illustrations. We'll say, oh, this one's not working, rah, rah, rah. But once you start like shading or adding the print, what happens is that's where all the movement and flow comes in. Just like I told you that asymmetry is kinder. Well, asymmetrical details like shadow and pattern that are going to come into your illustration are going to be where it becomes as beautiful as it really is. Whereas when everything's sort of straight, it feels stiff, you're just judging it, you feel like, you know, it's not nearly as exciting as what you wanted it to be, da-da-da. I'm speaking for myself, you know, that's how I was feeling, but look how much it changes when you start bringing the details in. And then I love to use wet shadow, so I definitely, like I said, I see shadow in here, and I'm just going to try to capture. You feel the same way, right, Kara? So you almost like lose faith early on, and the big test for so many of us is to stick with it past that feeling. And the thing is, the more experienced you get just by taking a class or just by doing and doing and doing it, it's going to get, inevitably, you're going to have more and more faith. You're going to become more trusting that your stuff is going to turn out beautiful. Like now I'm pretty much used to, oh yeah, I'm uncomfortable now, but I know it's going to get better. To improve your English, you should do exactly what you're doing right. Ah, that's great advice, Karen. Leave the room and come back. Absolutely. Now, because I made her face like super white, I'm going to come back in with a skin tone, which kind of defeats the purpose of using the toned paper. Not totally, but, and then I can come back and add highlights again. Once this is not like a paint paper. This is actually a sketch paper, so it's not really made to take paint. So if everything feels wrinkly, the paint doesn't get like sucked right into the paper. It would be wonderful if it did. It doesn't. So I need to, like, what do you call it? Wait a little bit. And then I want to make sure I come in with something black to really define the deepest, darkest things. The easiest way to see the deepest, darkest things is to squint your eyes. So to learn English, you're going to want to do what you're doing. Interact with people like you're doing right now. That's what I would say. I'm going to zoom in on her hair a little bit. See, this is dry. Oh, my fearlessness. I'm so like... Thanks for bringing that up, because right now I'm feeling so like, what do you call it? Kind of vulnerable for just jumping in, you know, and then you see there's no one left on the scope. You're like, ah. But you know what? And I didn't warm up, etc., etc. Gosh, you know, I love my Prismacolor pencils. They're my favorite, but they are, oh gosh. Well, the one good thing about that is that I try to tell people, oh, the reason why I didn't rehearse this 50 times is that I would like you to know that it's a process, you know, that I build these drawings as I go, that sometimes they'll flow out effortlessly, but usually only after I've warmed up, and that usually they're like, the drawing is built, you know, over time. And once you demystify that for people, it's like, oh, really? You know, I I had this belief that these things just come out perfect immediately. See, what I'm tempted to do right now is come in and put in lines and things, but I really can't, you know, Karen, because the paper's wet. And all I'm going to do is sort of rip it up. But I want to give those of you who are here now, it's true. You're so deep. We need to have a coffee chat. I'll never forget the first time we met and talked on the phone. Okay, so now I'm just gonna just trying to wrap this up a little bit. I hope you will always, oh, we do. Now my sister is having a camp wedding next week, which means like a whole week wedding, which is pretty hard timing for me actually. So I don't know, but maybe after that, I would love that. I don't know how long you extend your shore time, but I went to Cape Cod this year and just, it blew my mind. Now here's the thing, if I start putting little black lines everywhere, oh, okay, it's very non-traditional. She's gonna be wearing like a corset, and I actually made her skirt, which is a really dramatic, it's a very theatrical, artistic, it's gonna be unlike any wedding I've ever seen. Aww. Wow, that is so sweet. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna stop this now because things need to dry before I do anything else, and I really want to articulate her shoes and legs better so that you get the whole smoothness of this. In fact, I feel like I lost some of the proportion, but anyway, I hope you got some details you enjoy. My I have digital. I love chatting with you too. And I feel so nervous right now because this is coming out kind of bizarre. I haven't been on Periscope in so long for that very reason. I wanted to make sure that I get myself back on. It was fun to do a quick rendering of the print and to, you know, I hope you got some inspiration to at least start. Because you know what else? Warming up is everything. Thank you. After the first sketch, you know what I usually do is I keep going across the page. And I have to admit, and I hope you can see it too, how even though I didn't use the paper tone as skin tone, just notice how awesome it is to have a white dress on the toned paper and how it like pops forward. Okay? And that's what I wanted to really, really give you all today. Yes, I'll do that in the next